Welcome back. Now it's apparent that I've already discussed evolution quite a bit, but I haven't yet touched on the pace of evolution, so I shall do that now. One of the most visible manifestations of evolution is the existence of groups of related species that have recently evolved from a common ancestor by adapting to different parts of the environment. These adaptive radiations are particularly common in situations in which a species occurs in an environment with few other species and many available resources. One example is the creation of new islands through volcanic activity, such as the Hawaiian and Galapagos Islands. Adaptive radiation can also result when a new trait, called a key innovation, evolves within a species, allowing it to use resources or other aspects of the environment that were previously inaccessible. Classic examples of key innovation leading to adaptive radiation are the evolution of lungs in fish and of wings in birds and insects, both of which allow descendant species to diversify and adapt to many newly available parts of the environment. Adaptation to new habitats can occur either during the allopatric phase, as the species responds to different environments on the different islands, or after two species become sympatric. In the latter case, this adaptation may be driven by the need to minimize competition for available resources with each other. Populations on different islands evolved to become different species. In this process, termed character displacement, natural selection in each species favors those individuals that use resources not used by the other species. Because those individuals will have greater fitness, whatever traits cause the differences in resource will increase in frequency, and over time, the species will diverge. One example of character displacement involves three-spined sticklebacks, small fish found in temperate lakes throughout the Northern Hemisphere. In British Columbia, many lakes were created in the past 12,000 years or so, when the glaciers melted at the end of the last ice age. Some of those lakes near the ocean have been invaded by marine populations of the stickleback. These fish tend to occur in habitats throughout the lake and evolve to be different from their marine ancestors. So different, in fact, that in the few lakes in which a second colonization occurred, the two stickleback populations had evolved a high degree of reproductive isolation. As a result, natural selection led to the evolution of differences in the two populations to minimize competition for food. One stickleback adapted to using open water and evolved a streamlined body form for greater speed and more efficient gill structures for straining out the zooplankton that occur in the open, whereas the other population adapted to foraging near the margins and bottom of the lake, evolving a larger and stouter body, and altered the shape of the mouth to better feed on large invertebrates from the lake floor. Similar character displacement occurred in 7 doubly colonized lakes. More than 1,000 species in the fly genus Drosophila occur on the Hawaiian Islands. New species of Drosophila are still being discovered in Hawaii, although the rapid destruction of the native vegetation is making the search more difficult. Aside from their sheer number, Hawaiian Drosophila species are unusual because of their incredible diversity of morphological and behavioral traits. Evidently, when their ancestors first reached these islands, they encountered many empty habitats that other kinds of insects and other animals occupied elsewhere. As a result, the species have adapted to all manners of fruit fly life and include predators, parasites, and herbivores, as well as species specialized for eating the detritus in leaf litter and the nectar of flowers. The larvae of various species live in rotting stems, fruits, bark, leaves or roots, or feed on sap. No comparable diversity of Drosophila species is found anywhere else in the world. The great diversity of Hawaiian species is a result of the geographical history of these islands. New islands have continually arisen from the sea in this region. As they have done so, they appear to have been invaded successfully by the various Drosophila groups present on the other islands. New species thus have evolved as new islands have been colonized. In addition, the Hawaiian Islands are among the most volcanically active islands in the world. Periodic lava flows often have created patches of habitat within an island, surrounded by a sea of barren rock. These land islands are termed kipukas. Drosophila populations, isolated in these kipukas, often undergo speciation. In these ways, rampant speciation combined with ecological opportunity has led to an unparalleled diversity of insect life. As the new arrivals, Darwin's finches, moved into vacant ecological niches and adapted new lifestyles, they were subjected to many different sets of selective pressures. Under these circumstances, and aided by the geographic isolation afforded by the many islands of the Galapagos archipelago, the ancestral finches rapidly split into a series of diverse populations, some of which evolved into separate species. Gradualism and punctuated equilibrium explain the relationship between speciation and the evolutionary change that occurs within a species. The general view, even now, is that evolution occurs over a long period of time. Imperceptible change, therefore, from generation to generation, accumulates such that over the course of several million years, obvious and significant changes occur. This hypothesis is called gradualism. Paleontologists Niles Eldredge and Stephen Jay Gould challenged gradualism in 1972. Their argument was that species experience long periods of little or no change, i.e. stasis, punctuated by bursts of change occurring over geographically short time intervals. They called this phenomenon punctuated equilibrium and argued that these periods of rapid change occurred only during the speciation process. A combination of stabilizing and oscillating selection is responsible for stasis. Stasis occurs because, over a long period of time, the environment does not change. If, alternatively, environmental changes oscillate back and forth, stasis may occur for long periods. Gradualism and punctuated equilibrium appear to be two ends of a continuum, although some groups have evolved solely in a gradual manner and others only in a punctuated mode. Many other groups show evidence of both gradual and punctuated episodes at different times in their evolutionary history. Adaptive radiation occurs when a species diversifies, producing descendant species that are adapted to use many different parts of the environment. Adaptive radiation may occur under conditions of recurrent isolation, which increases the rate at which speciation occurs, and by occupation of areas with few competitors and many types of available resources, such as on volcanic islands. The evolution of a key innovation may also allow adaptations to parts of the environment that previously could not be utilized. Gradualism is the accumulation of indiscernible changes that eventually result in distinct differences. Punctuated equilibrium proposes that long periods of stasis are punctuated by periods of speedy change. Stasis refers to a period in which little or no change occurs. Stasis may result from stabilizing or oscillating selection. I hope you've enjoyed today's lecture. which discusses concepts such as stabilizing and oscillating selection, as well as punctuated equilibrium and gradualism. I look forward to seeing you again.